So hello all, my name is Sai Ganesh and today we are going to discuss about some of the important concepts in JavaScript. Along with that, let's also discuss the process of building a Telegram chatbot. So now let's start with the variables. So we can actually create variables by using keywords like var, let and const. So if you use a var keyword, that means it is a functional scope. That means you can declare it within a function and you can use it across the all the places in that particular function. And when you use let, that is block scope. That means if you create a particular block, that means if you write some code within some parentheses, that particular code is a block, and if you declare it in that block, you can use it across the entire block. And the constant is also the block scope. That means you can use it in a particular block. So when you use var, you can actually redeclare the same variable and you can reassign it to. But when you use let, you can redeclare it, but you cannot reassign it. And when it comes to const, you can neither redeclare it nor reassign it, because sometimes you might want some data not to be disturbed in any situation. So in that cases, use const, so that even by mistake you are not going to change the value of it. You're not going to reassign it. So now let's run it and let's see what the output shows. So the output shows Sai 20, 21 and the pi value 3.14. Now let's move on to objects. So objects are basically used when you want to store your data in the form of key value pairs. So when you want your data in this structure where you have a key and you have a value. So when in that situations you use an object. So here the name is a key and the values Sai is a value. Name here the age is a key and 20 is the value. And you can also create functions inside it, and that here this function returns hello plus person.name, which is nothing but Sai. So now let's see how to access the values inside an object. So if you to access any value inside an object, we use the dot, and we say here person is the object's name, and we use dot and we say name, which is the key of this particular object. Now person.name returns Sai, person.age returns age, which is 20, and person.city returns Chennai. And you can also call the functions by saying person.greet. It just returns hello plus person.name, which is nothing but Sai. Now we can also change the values within a object by saying person.age is equal to 21. You can just basically assign it to some other value, and I can print it. You can print the new age, and it returns the age with it returns the new modified age. And you can also create a new key, and you can also add value to that, which is country is equal to India. So here I created a new key and I assigned a value that is India to that. Now if you print it, it returns India. And you can also delete some values. If you say delete person.city, it deletes the entire city, the key and the value. And if you try to print it after deleting, obviously it prints undefined, because this it does not even exist. First of all, to print it, it needs to exist. Since it doesn't exist, we do not got anything. Now let's try to run it. Now we get Sai hello, Sai 20 Chennai, hello Sai 21 India, and undefined, because that has been deleted. Now let's move on to loops. So in the loops, we have three types of loops, and these loops are used in different use cases. So let's take a for loop. And when we are using for loop, we use for loop when we know the number of iterations that we are going to perform beforehand itself. Here I know that we are going to perform 5 iterations no matter what, so I used 5. So that's why I used for loop. So let here we declared a variable. Here I acts as an iterator. I starts from 1. It goes on until it reaches 5. So when it reaches 5, it stops. And I++ is the increment function, which increments the value of I by 1 at each step. And while loop is used when you do not know the number of iterations that you're going to perform. So while is its condition, and this loop runs as long as until it reaches that particular condition. And here we got the increment thing, and at each step it increases by 1, and when it reaches this particular condition, it stops. And this is do while loop. So do while loop is also very similar to while loop. It is also used when you do not know the number of iterations that you are going to perform, but no matter whatever the condition is, it runs at least for once. So as you can see, the difference is, first in while loop you check the condition first, then you perform the action. But in do while loop, you perform the action, then you check the condition. So no matter if the condition fails in the first step itself, it still runs for at least once, because the condition is checked at the last before performing the action. So now let's try to run them. So we got the output 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and 1 2 3 4 5. So actually these three, every loop can do anything which other loop does, but it depends on our situation. If we know the number of iterations, then we can we use go for loop. If we do not know, then we can go for while loop or do while loop. Now let's move on to functions. So functions are very important in JavaScript, because sometimes there's a code which you want to run multiple times, but for that you cannot write the same code again and again, right? So we use functions to store that particular code, and you can reuse it or run it no matter how many times you want. So this is a basic function. This is the function keyword, and greet is the name of a function, and name is the parameter that we pass it. It's a and here sai is an argument and name is a parameter, and this, it's like saying name is equal to sai. We are passing this value to this name. Now it returns hello plus name. The name which we have passed is sai. Now it returns hello sai. Now we created so this is this type of function, we put constant, and we said we created a variable. So we are actually we are storing the returned value of this particular function in a variable, and we used const because no matter what, we do not want to overwrite this function in the future. So once you used const, you cannot overwrite. So this makes sure that your function is safe. And they say these are called arrow functions, because where we use an arrow. So these are basically used for quick and short writing, and these are better structured. And in the modern JavaScript, everyone's been using these arrow functions rather than using these normal functions. And these are arrow function plus inline function. That means entire function is written in a single line. So you do not even need a return statement. If you just use an arrow, and if you just writes whatever the thing that you want to return, it just returns automatically. Now if we try to run it, we got hello Sai, hi Sai, hey Sai, and 25. Here we passed 5. Now this 5 goes to X, and it returns the value 5 into 5, which is nothing but 25. Now let's move on to conditions. So conditions in JavaScript are used to perform an action based on a particular condition. Now if we go to the beginning, let's say number 1 is equal to 10. So if number 1 is greater than 10, that means if this number 10 is the value of this number 1 is greater than 0, the value then it prints it's a positive number, because if something is greater than 0, it's a positive number. Now let's say if number is equal to minus 5, number is equal to minus 5. So if number 2 is greater than 0, then we print a positive number. Or else, I mean, if this condition fails, then it comes into this piece of code. In the else statement, we write something alternative of what we have written in the if condition. Now since this condition fails, it comes to this condition and it prints it. It does not check. If this condition fails, we do not check anything, we just come directly and we just print it. And number is equal to 0. So if number is greater than 0, we print it. If number is less than 0, we print this. If these both conditions fail, then what is the third condition? Obviously it's 0. That's why we if these two conditions fail, it just comes straight to it and it does not check anything, and it just prints whatever that's written in this particular else statement. And now these are shorthand statements. I mean, rather than using this if else of keywords, you can just write everything in a single line. So basically what this line means, we are storing the value of this, either it's even or odd, by saying number 4% modulo 2 is equal to 0. We are comparing actually. So it returns true or false if this condition, if we divide 7 by 2 and if we get the remainder as 0, and if that means the condition is true, then it prints even. If the condition is false, then it prints odd. So since the condition fails here, then the output, the odd will be stored in the result and we can print the result. Now switch case, when you have multiple choices and if you want to print something based on a particular choice, then you use switch cases. For example, day is a variable and we put the variable in this inside the switch, and based on the value of the variable we get the output. Since the here the value of the variable is 3, then we go to case 3 and we print it, the day is Wednesday. And if you try to run it, the first one is positive number because it's greater than 0. The second one is negative number since it's less than 0. It's less than 0. Since we did not give any condition for 0, we are saying it's a negative number or 0. And for the third one, it's 0. First two conditions failed and the last condition became true. And the third one, and this condition failed, it returns false. So for false case, we use the thing that is written after this hyphen, after this colon, and we get the odd. And this switch case, based on the value of the day, which is 3, we get the output as Wednesday. Now let's move on to arrays. So arrays are basically used when you want to store multiple values in a single variable. So here fruits is a single variable and you're storing multiple values. Numbers is a single variable and you're storing multiple values. So you can access each and every element in that array. So arrays are actually follow a zero based indexing. That means the first element gets the index 0 and the next element gets the index 1. So if you print fruits and if you open the brackets and if you put 0, that means the one that's at the beginning, the 0th index one, which is apple, it gets printed. And you can also change the value. You can say that fruits of 1 is equal to orange, then it changes from banana to orange and you can print the new value. And push actually pushes the value to the ending of the array. For example, here we have apple and we change the value, so here we get orange, and we have mango, and it pushes the value after the mango. Here we get grapes. And unshift is actually pushing value towards the front. Here we push the value from the back, right? Now we put a value through the front. Now we get pineapple, afterwards we get apple. And pop is actually deleting, we delete the value from the back, we delete the value which was pushed, that is grape, we delete that. And shift means deleting values from the front. We just we just pushed something from the front, which is pineapple. Now we just delete it using the shift. Now length, this length is a keyword which we use to find the length of the particular array. It returns the number of elements that are existing in the array. Now we can use a for loop to iterate through the entire array and print all the elements that are there in the array. Now let's try to run this. So we used a for loop which we have seen in the earlier case, and since it at each step it returns the numbers, and we can put those numbers and get the elements at that particular indices. So we got the output. So here this is the first array. Here we pushed grapes and we unshifted apple, and then here we popped grapes, and in this case we shifted pineapple, and the length of the array is 3. And by using a for loop we iterated through the entire array and got this as output. Now first let's go through this callback function. So callback functions are actually is a function that is passed as a parameter to another function. So now here in this second step we created a function called callback function, and that says this runs after the greeting. So now we created another function and we said greet, and we passed we have two parameters, one is name and one is callback. And we say console.log hello plus name. So name is something that we are going to send in the future, and callback is also something that we are going to send in the future. And we are calling this function here itself. Now while calling this main function, we are passing the parameter psi, and we are passing this particular function, and this particular function goes here and we are calling it here. That means the output will come as hello plus my name is Sai, hello Sai, and then it prints this runs after the greeting. So as you can see, it printed hello Sai first, then it printed hello, then it printed this runs after the greeting. So now let's look at discuss what Node.js is. So Node.js is actually a JavaScript runtime. So instead of running JavaScript in a browser like Google Chrome or Firefox, you can actually run it on your own computer using Node.js. And Node.js is by using Node.js in your own computer, you can create web servers, you can create different kinds of web applications, you can connect to databases, you can build chatbots, and you can also deal with APIs. So Node.js are mainly it's used for running JavaScript within your own computer. So now let's also see what packages are. So packages are nothing but packages are a piece of pre-written code. So that pre-written code you just use that's are written in the packages, and just you use them, and so by using them you actually save your time rather than not writing that particular code. You use them directly. So now let's see how to install a package. First, let's initialize our projects. Well, so to initialize your folder or project, you say npm init. Init means initialization. Like, so this actually helps in initializing your project. It gives some of the details about the your folder, like what are all the things that are there. So it's used for initialization. Now let's for to install any package, the basic format is npm space install, and here you give the package, here you give the package name. So let's install any package. Let's install Axios. So here we installed a package called Axios. So Axios is a package that is used for dealing with APIs. So it basically sends HTTP requests to APIs so that we can get the it sends the request and we get the data that we want. So in this way you can also install packages into your folders. So now let's move on. Let's discuss about the process of building a Telegram chatbot. So now, so this is the code of the Telegram chatbot that I have created. So here are the packages are there in JSON format that I have installed. So now let's see what this code means. So now let's analyze the entire code. So basically, first we are creating this particular piece of code allows us to interact with the Telegram API easily, and this is where we call the access function. I mean, here this access is used to it sends HTTP request to fetch some jokes from the public API, and here this is used for dealing with the Telegram API, and here this is used for dealing with the public API for jokes. So this is a token that bot father has given me. So this token is very important, and if someone has this token, they can actually control your bot. So this token must be so private and it should be safe. And here we these here we this particular code deals with the commands. So if you give start command, then it prints this particular message. So chat.id allows us to probably choose to where to send the message. And when we use the start command, it gives I am your personal Telegram bot, help to see what I can do. So it gives this prints this message when we use the start command. And when you here we created this bot, the polling true means polling true means like we can send messages constantly as the bot is running. And here we use help command. If we use the help command, it can say what are all the things that it can do. It can say hi, bye, it can tell a joke, or it can just start with you. And if you just use the joke command, it gives the if you use the joke command, it can now Axios comes into action. It fetches the data from the public API, and that particular joke, by fetching it brings to the Telegram chatbot, and it displays it. Now we can also create our custom messages. So here I wrote a piece of code which deals with custom messages. So if the text is high, the text is something that the user sends. So if the text is high, then we print this particular message, hello, and it prints the user's first name. So if the text is how are you, then it says I'm good, what about you. If the text is good morning, then it returns good morning, have a great day. Then if the text is tell me a joke, then Axis comes into action. It sends request, grabs the information from the data, and it displays the joke. So if the text is bye, it says bye, and it's also, you can also say our first name. Other than that, if our messages do not include in these particular if conditions, in the final condition, it might say chart ID, you set message.text is this holds the text that we have sent it. and at the end it gives this. I can also tell jokes if you type me tell a joke. So this only runs when when your message do not match any of these. So now let's see how it works. Let's see how. So to start your Telegram chat, to enable your Telegram chatbot to work, you have to press something. You have to type something called like node and the file name index.js. So now your Telegram chat is all set to work. So now let's go. Now if you send it hi, so it said hi, hello Sagnesh. Now let's say good morning. It says good morning, have a great day. Now let's say how are you. It says how I'm good, how about you. Now let's ask it to tell us a joke. Tell me a joke. And now it says a nice funny joke. Now let's say since our work is done, let's say bye. Now it says goodbye Sagnesh, see you later. So now our Telegram bot is completely working. So as long as this thing is working, our Telegram chatbot continues to work. So if you want to stop it, you just simply press Control plus C. So now our Telegram chatbot has stopped working. So in that way, you can create your own Telegram chatbot, and then that's the overall explanation of the important JavaScript concepts along with the process of building a Telegram chatbot. Thank you.